Hey friends, it's Marquise Martin Hayes, and it is time for the Monday Moment. We normally do it in the mornings, but today we're doing it in the evening. I was giving this morning, taking care of some things, empowering some students with some skills and techniques so that they can be effective in interviews and in communications. So today, here's what I want to talk about. Since it's the evening, why not? What do you do to wrap up your day, right? So usually Monday morning, the Monday Moment happens earlier in the day as part of a prep tool to help you get prepared for your week, to help you look forward to things and getting the right mindset so that you can not only excel, but you can thrive. What's just as important is how you wrap up a Monday, right? Because a lot of times we have expectations, and when those expectations aren't met, how does that leave us? And that's what I want to spend a few moments on now. One of the things that I love to talk about when we talk about relationships are expectations. And when we set expectations, when they're not met, we know how we feel. We're left wanting, we're left concerned, we're left a little bit disappointed. How do you fix that? How do you come back from that? How do you repair when things didn't go the way you intended? You put all this energy and effort, you focus, and it didn't happen. Really simple. You just get back up. In life, what I've discovered through my failures is that they are what they are: uncomfortable, not fun, and disappointing. The reality is, many times I want to quit just like the next person. But the true story and the true opportunity comes in how we actually repair and reboot. See, there's nothing wrong with changing our mind or making a choice that looks different than what we originally chose once we've walked through the process. But there's something strikingly different when we just give up. And I know, believe me firsthand, I know what it's like to want to give up after getting knocked down, beat down, and thrown around. But that's not the goal. Resetting the expectation, resetting the strategy, or discovering what didn't work. What didn't work in the process. It's not like I'm a failure. I'm not a failure. I'm a success. That's not even a question. And so are you. You can't fail. You're not a process. So who you are is not tied to the outcome of the effort that went in, that did whatever it did. The only question at hand is how can you get better? What's missing? What was missing that would have made a difference in that particular outcome? Could it have been your preparation time? Could have been your team. Maybe you wanted to do it yourself. And because you weren't connected with others, it took a lot more than what you had to offer. I don't know. Could it have been your ego? Instead of being willing to flow and negotiate, you wanted to demand things to go your way and you weren't willing to be flexible. I don't know what the reason is, and there's probably a million of them. The only thing that actually matters is your ability to observe what happened, isolate yourself from it so that you recall it's not you, it's the process you chose, and then adjust or tweak the process. Last week we talked a little bit about the ship, right? The rudder on the ship. If you change it 1 degree, that thing will end up completely off course, going a different direction. And we also talked about the beauty of if you change it 1 degree, it goes exactly where it was intended to go. So as you wrap up this Monday, it doesn't really matter what exactly happened in your day. The only question is, do you know why it happened? Take the time to analyze and negotiate and sit with yourself for a moment. Meditation in the evening or recapping is just as important as starting out with the right intention in the morning. Reflect. Did it go the way I wanted it to go? It did. Okay. What did I do to ensure that? What was that one thing that made the difference? That one thing. It wasn't necessarily the whole thing. The whole thing it mattered, but it's usually the one thing that sets itself apart as being the distinction. So that you can be certain of your success again tomorrow. That's why it matters. Or what was the one thing that didn't go right? And a lot of times we want to throw the whole baby out with the bathwater, but a lot of times it's just one little thing. What was the one little thing that didn't work out so well? What's the minute detail that you missed? One of my coaches told me, he'd always say, Marquise, it's always in the details. Excellence gets thrown off by the littlest things. It's always the little things. So what were the little things that you didn't do today or you did do today that caused you to be off course or right on target? Taking the time to look and analyze will make sure that not only Monday was a good day, but Tuesday and the rest of the week as well. Because as they say, success leaves clues. I'm sure we could argue that either way. But if we don't investigate, we don't have an idea and we don't have a clue, pun intended. Take the time to figure that out. I tell my kids all the time, did you get an A? No? Do you think I'm upset with them because they didn't get an A? I mean, like, what kind of father would I be if I actually were upset with them because they didn't get an A? Really? Yeah. I wouldn't be pretty proud of myself. But I still check in. Why didn't you get an A? And what I'm asking and looking for is, do you know why? So that doesn't come back to haunt you later. It's not whether or not they got an A. Personally, I don't care. As long as they've applied themselves, gave it all their effort, and then found out why they didn't get it and closed that gap, I'm a happy camper. That's called learning. That's called real life. That's what actually happens. Taking the time to find out why you didn't get an A, why the day didn't go as you planned, or why it did, will allow you again to duplicate as best as possible. Life happens and things change, but to duplicate the effort to ensure your success again, and or to alleviate some of the pain of failure reoccurring. Failure is definitely your friend, but it still doesn't feel good. Anyway, this is Marquise Martin Hayes with your Monday moment for the evening. Have a great time and a great evening.